G'day and welcome to another Pokemon Go video. So jumping straight into Go Battle League. So I did my previous 5 battles. I'll link those now, and I'm going to jump into the next 5. So level 2, or rank 2, whatever you want to call it, and I'll jump into the Great League now. So I've slightly switched up my team. So Shiftry, Galvantula and Azumarill. So I've swapped out the Registeel just because I did notice I had a massive weakness to fire types, and then also a bit of a weakness to the fighting types as well, because obviously with a lead weak to fighting, and then also Registeel in the back weak to fighting, yeah, not ideal. The biggest one was the fire type weakness. I just had nothing if they brought out a something with fire. So I've swapped out the Registeel for Azumarill there, running Ice Breath and Hydro Pump, and we'll see how we go. So it'll be interesting to see what we come up against. I imagine in rank 2 it's still going to be a pretty mixed bag. We might come up against a couple of meta teams or some meta Pokemon, but we'll see. I'll jump straight in and we'll get things started. That's the thing about Great League. It's such a mixed bag. Even when you've got meta teams, you can have such a variety within the teams themselves, and such a variety of anti-meta teams that it's a pretty crazy battles sometimes. So jump in with my Shiftry and get up against a Gramble, which is really not good for me. So what I'm going to do is swap out. Let's see what they do here. So I was hoping that they'd swap out themselves. They have not. So really just I'm hoping they do not shield this. If they shield this, I might be in a bit of trouble here. And they have shielded it, so that's really not ideal for me. So I'm going to come back in with my and I should have waited for more time. So I think I'm going to let this I should not have. It's close combat, so yeah, I really shouldn't have shielded that. So let's see what they switch into. So it is a Skarmory. So I am going to Hydro Pump here. Apparently they get to Fast Move first. I think I will get a shield here, so I probably should have just yeah, I should have just Ice Breath, but that's fine. Let's hit the Excellent at least. Let's see what they do. So yeah, I did get the shield. So definitely should have Ice Beam there. So I will match shields here because I want to be able to... Oh, let's see. And yeah, so we did tie there, which is unfortunate. I don't know. I'm fairly sure that would have taken me out, that Sky Attack. And I will fully charge this because I don't think this is enough at this range to take it out yet. Let's see. Yeah, so not quite enough to take it out, but I should be able to Fast Move farm it down here, which is fine. Let's see what comes out. So I'm going to be greedy here and go for the Hydro Pump, which is really lucky that I got there. I do think we CMP tied. So, yeah, this is going to be an uphill battle, to say the least. So I think it's 5 to a... Oh, and I've just thrown the... and they swapped straight out. I really should have... No! Really frustrated with that. Oh, wow. Okay, so that did more damage than I was expecting. Really should have thrown the Leaf Blade there. Because then I would have saved some energy. I was really not expecting that to KO, to be completely honest. I've got to get to one more Leaf Blade. Let's hope that I can... So had I not thrown the Dark Pulse there on the Gramble, let's see how much damage that does, and let's see if I can get there first, which I should be able to. Yep, I can, and that's got the win. So even with the bit of a mistake there, so really should not have thrown the Dark Pulse. I don't know what I was thinking, so even if it was either of those, I should have been throwing the Leaf Blade, but managed to get away with one there, so really happy with that. Had I thrown the Dark Pulse on the Umbreon, it would have probably been worse, possibly. Don't know. Both bad, but managed to get away with it. So happy days. More because the foul play just costs more energy, so I really should have, and resisted. So just overall terrible idea. So happy days, managed to get that one. Let's jump into the next battle and see how we go. So run the same line. Hopefully we get a more favourable lead. So I was hoping down in these lower ranks we wouldn't come up against a fairy type. So not really not ideal. But I mean, it is what it is. So I possibly should have brought out the Azumarill to counter that one. They didn't have anything in the back for hard countering my Azumarill, so that would have been the idea. And getting that Hydro Pump off against the Umbreon definitely 100% helped. So finding an opponent, and this is taking a while, I don't know why, I'm only rank 2. You would think there'd be a lot of rank 2 players around at the moment. Let's see what we get. There we go. So found someone now. Mary A. Healy, hey? Let's see what we get on the lead. So Wishcash is a really good lead for me. Let's see what they do. Oh, so weak connection is not good. So I fully expect them to switch out here, which they haven't. So I will just throw the Leaf Blade because it will be forcing a shield. So I think they've got about 4. So 5, 6, 7. So they will shield up again, which means that they'll probably be throwing the Blizzard straight off the bat, which is fine. So I will go down into a shield here. So I don't know what's going on. So they've not thrown a Blizzard. So I'll just Leaf Blade them and one shot there. I say one shot. I mean, I did some damage from the other. So they've got a Machamp here, which is good against the Shiftry. So for this one, I've got 2 shields. I imagine it's going to be a fighting type move, so I'm not going to shield this up. Oh, it's Rock Slide. So, I mean, it's going to do a little bit of damage, but not huge amounts. So they've got no shield, so I might as well... I'm going to go 1 extra move, which I shouldn't have, but I will shield this up, and then I'm going to go a couple of extra, actually, because it'll be... Oh, no, so this time it's Cross Chop. So, 1, 2... 3, and then I'll Ice Beam. Oh wow, okay. So I'm not going to commit a second shield here. So Cross Chop, not going to do much. So that's what happens when you get really greedy, and I shouldn't have. So just Ice Beam there, that'll be enough to take them out, and then I should have enough energy to get to a Hydro. So actually it's going to be the ice, because obviously it's a dragon, so definitely the Ice Beam is the way to go, and that'll be super effective. And with the Dragon Breath's not doing much damage, will I get to another one? No, I won't. So the question is, who do I bring out? So I have a bit of energy on the Shiftry, so I'll bring that out, I'll throw the foul play, and that'll be a good game. So, not running the right fast move on the Mud Boy at the start really hurt them. Staying in there, another thing. So they should have swapped out to the Latias or Latios. I didn't actually look, and I can never remember which one's which. So that's all right. So they had a reasonable team there, just not the best strategy, and obviously leaving the well, when it came to it throwing the cross chops, not the best idea. They did get a shield from it though, so I guess not all bad. So that's game number 2, so I don't know why it's booted me right out. And I'll jump into game number 3. So, the team composition, again, rank 2 is not great, and then the play as well is also a bit questionable. But that helps me, and you should really use that. So when you're battling as well, use that to figure out what you do right and what you do wrong. So in that first game, really close game, so they had some good Pokemon there, and I threw the dark move against a fairy, which is not ideal. Never do. So really learn your moves. So Dugong, let's see what it's got. So this is bad for me. I don't know why I'm staying in. I want to throw the Leaf Blade here. Let's see what I get. So I'll get I didn't get a shield, so I'm going to switch this up to Galvantula, and that should really put the pressure on, because it may be able to fast move farm it down, and it can, just because it does so much damage with the, so that's interesting. So obviously I can't change, so I'm just going to go straight discharge here. I've got the energy advantage, so yeah, they're shielding this one up, so that's fine. Oh, what do they swap to? So I'm going to go straight up discharge again. So I really want to be able to keep this match, but it's so that's hit really hard. So let's see if I can get a KO here, and so we KO at the same time. So the last one is going to be the Machamp. So I'm actually just going to let my timer count down, and then I'm going to throw out the Azumarill. So I've got 2 shields here, so I might as well use them. So it's either, I think it's probably going to be the Rock. No, so it's Dynamic Punch, so it would be resisted anyway. But this is good game right here. There's nothing they can do. Let's throw the Ice Breath, and I probably want to hit the Excellent, even though they're going to shield this one up, which is fine. So I got a little second cheeky one in there. So really, I'm just thinking of what their strategy should have been when the so they really should have double shielded on. So when my Galvantula came out, they really should have double shielded on the Machamp versus the Galvantula, just because obviously they had the Lapras in the back, which is also weak to it, so they just not ideal there. And also, as soon as the Galvantula came out, I was able to fast move farm down their Dugong without it getting any and a charge move off, so that really hurt as well. So probably should have shielded up the move from the Shiftry and then swapped out. But then you just don't know what's in the back of a team, so fair enough to them. So I don't know why this is booting me out again, and that should have been, was that 3 battles? Yeah, there we go. So 3 battles. So let's jump into the next one. So running the same team again, obviously want to sort of practice that up. So I don't know if that move, well, that would have worked against another team, just because switching out. So once you get to higher ranks, the switching and stuff becomes a lot faster. But, I mean, it is what it is, and I was hoping to force the switch there, but the outcome was okay. So another person running Grumble from the start, so I'm going to switch this one out. So I probably should have switched to the... so definitely should have switched to the... So because they've shielded this one up, and then they're going to fast move farm me down. So yeah, I really need to learn that from the start. I need to switch to the Azumarill here, regardless of whether they... So I don't know what move this is going to be. I'm going to actually save the shield, which is the right move to do, thankfully. It was the crunch, so I was hoping for a crunch there. Let's see what they've got. So this is an interesting one. So this is what, steel type as well. So let's see. I might get a shield here. I don't, so that absolutely blitzes it. So I will shield this one up, even though it's probably just Doom Desire. It is. But I want to keep a bit of health on this, because obviously if they've swapped out into... so they've got a Wish Cache here, so that's interesting. So I'm going to let this... what should I do here? What should I do? So they've shielded up there, so I'm going to switch this out and try and get to a fast move first, which I can. And then they're going to come back out with their Gramble, because that's going to one-shot. Let's see if I can get to my charge move before they can take me out, which I can't. And now I'm up a shield and going to be able to resist. So I'm hoping, oh wow, this is actually going to be really, really close. So I'm going to shield this up. And let's see who takes out who first. I'm hoping it's me. Oh, yeah, so managed to just take them out there. So good game on their part. So fine switching into the Galvantula, but I think I do really, really need to switch in against Grambles. I need to switch into the Azumarill, take the risk that they've got a grass in the back, just because at the moment they're not switching out of Galvantula, which makes complete sense. It's not a good matchup. Well, it's not a bad matchup for them. So I guess, yeah. And if they've got a bug, a grass to switch into and hard counter the Azumarill, at least I've got the Galvantula in the back to do bug buzz. So I think that's definitely what I'm going to be doing now. I've got lucky in both of those games though, so that was a reasonable lineup. Again, I don't know what was going on with the Swampert, the Mud Boy. So yeah, we'll see. Jump in, same team, and we'll see what we get matched up against. So got pretty lucky so far. A couple of teams that were more meta, and managed to sneak wins out there. Haven't actually come up against any fires or fighting yet. Have come up against the fairy, which I didn't think I would. We'll have to see if there's any fire types coming through. So a popular one, I reckon, is going to be copying a team from one of the other YouTubers that showed the Shadow team that had a fire type in there. That would absolutely wreck my team. But, I mean, haven't come up against anything like that yet, so happy days. That also has a... yeah, a team that's going to wreck me, but yeah, so let's see what we get. So got the lead of the Magma, so that's oh, and it had Brick Break, so I probably should have, let's see if they switch out here. So they should switch out, so I'm not going to shield this up. So it's Fire Punch, so it's not going to do much damage at all. So I was fully expecting them to switch out. So they're not switching out. So, well, so it took a week to switch out. So, and then switching into a fighter, which is not ideal against a fairy. So, yeah, they'll probably shield this up, which is why I only use the ice beam. So, I'm not going to shield this. It's probably going to be Stone Edge, so not what I was expecting. So it did a little bit of damage, so I'm going to do an extra one, and then I'll throw my my charge. I assume that they're probably going to shield this one as well. Yeah, so they're just going to shield everything. So I think I'm just going to fast move farm this down. I will use a shield, I might as well. Let's see what they have. Stone Edge again, so they're probably running the one move, and it's only 874 CP. So a couple of things to learn from this. So if you're watching this, so Mantine, so that's an interesting one. So what I might do here is just absolutely devastate this Mantine by switching into a Galvantula, and probably, two-shotting. So I will shield this up. Unfortunately, I switched in too late. I should have just switched straight in with the Galvantula. So used Aerial Ace, which is fine with me because it doesn't debuff me at all. And then they'll come back out with the Magmar there, and I'll be able to didn't even get a chance to discharge, just fast move farmed it down. So the big thing to learn there if you're watching this is, one, typing advantage, and two, just get something that's close to the 1500 CP. So as you can see, they didn't have everything close to that limit. And even if you do get type advantage, they just go down so quickly, especially if they're half CP. Great League is a fairly squishy league anyway, so you want to be getting as close to the 1500 cap as you can. So they might not be ideal Pokemon up at that range, but it's better to go close to the 1500 and make a team that sort of complements one another than sending something in at half strength. You're just not going to have a good time. The other thing I would suggest is learning your types. So especially when I switched into an Azumarill, which is a water type, so some types are harder than others. You're going to be running into a lot of Azumarill, so switch that out as soon as you can. So Azumarill versus fire, you just know you're in for a bad time, so switch that out straight away. So learn your basic types and your basic meta, and then switch out and save on those. It potentially won't save you all of the time, but at least when someone else switches in, they're switch locked. So if you switch out with your fire type, and in that instance, may have struggled a bit in the back, but it's definitely useful to switch out, because obviously you had a favourable matchup at the start there against the Shiftry, so ideally you'd swap that Magmar out to make sure you can match that up against the Shiftry in the end. So just a little bit of strategy to remember, and definitely bring those 1500 CP ones in, even if they're not the ideal ultimate meta. Try and bring the higher CP ones in to help with that. So that's my second set of 5. I was able to go 5-0 again, but again, I wasn't facing any uber meta teams. There were a couple of teams that were running things that weren't ideal for me, so those couple of Granbulls at the start. So it looks like following the Granbull Research Day, there's going to be, the Snubbull Research Day, which I do have a video on, so if you want to check that out, I'll link that now. So if you're going to be running into a few more of those. So if you are hitting lots of Granbulls, so you don't want to be using Dark or fighting against them. So the ones you want to use Poison and Steel. A couple of the good ones are easily accessible and very well known counters for them. You do not want to be running a Dragon against them either, so don't run Altaria against the Granbull. So just a few little tips there, so probably obvious to most people, but hopefully they're a bit helpful. So let's see what we get. So I think we've got a choice of Metagross and the starters, so it's not going to be anything exciting. Oshawott. So let's give it a berry. So let's see if I can hit an excellent throw on this. So if you want to get some advice on how to improve your throws. I've got a video to that as well, and I'll link that now. I do not lead by example there, didn't get any throw bonus whatsoever. So I'll link to that video, and you can check that out. It's how to improve your excellent throws. So that's Oshawott Court. Let's see if it's actually any good. 12, 14, 11. So no, it's not any good, which is absolutely fine. It's just a bit of extra candy. So let's see. So rank 2, obviously, that's we're not going to change our. We've not got a the numbers there. So let's claim that reward and move into rank 3. So rank 1 and 2 are to be expected. So a bit of normal, a bit of stuff that you'd expect, a bit of stuff you wouldn't expect, a bit of play that's not sort of ideal, but it helps with making my own team. So happy with those battles, happy with the win. So again, I'm not a perfect battler. You can really see that in some of these battles, switching in the Galvantula instead of an Azumarill because I wanted to save the Azumarill, assuming they would swap out, which they didn't, because obviously it's still a good match for them. So, yeah, in these lower levels, I think the Azumarill swap-in is going to be the way to go, and even in the future matches, I think the Azumarill swap-in is going to be the way to go. It'll get absolutely belted with a grass type, but if you can get a little bit of energy advantage, at least you can pressure with shields with that ice beam that it does have on it. So that is what I'm going to do in future, and that's what these early stages are for. Really learn your team from it. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully it was useful for someone, and I will I'll go on 10 wins out of 10 battles. So obviously absolutely stoked with that, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye for now.